Family is a warm-up for our destiny. It's a warm-up. Why? Well, because the way it's set up is that we're all born into a family. So we all are born into the gift of being able to warm up for what's to come. Okay? So it's good that you can work things out with your family and whatnot, but know that these tools then that you have mastered, they need to be applied on your path, on your destiny. Buddha had to do it. Everyone had to do it, you know? Moving on. So the ego is when being faced with the next step, with the next challenge outside of the family, the quote unquote family, or let's just call it what's familiar. The ego will sometimes create more drama within the family, and in order to go another spin around that drama without actually moving on to the destiny, your purpose, what it is that you're supposed to do in this life, which is totally Capricorn, because Capricorn, while it rules the greatest suffering, it also rules the meaning of life as well, like more or less with in the connection with the 10th house. So it can sometimes create these silent dramas, these emotional dramas, where we have to apply the same tools, and it distracts us from our path. It distracts us from being connected to the divine, which is something we need to move on to our destiny, and kind of puts us more in this energy of fate. It can be an emotional drama. It can be an invisible drama. You can't really sense it with the 5 senses, but it's something that could look totally innocent, but it's something that you have created so that you don't have to move on. So this new moon in Capricorn, it can really help us to connect to and tether to the divine so that we can move through the darkness with light, so that we can move on from our warm-up phase onto our destiny, because we don't want to stay idle. We want to really use the tools on the path. We want to use the tools outside of the warm-up, and so that use it okay guys, it's game time. Now is totally game time. Okay? So as we are in these, quote unquote dark times, I have to tell you, from the greatest darkness comes the greatest light. And it's not going to come from one person. It's going to come from all of us. So we have to apply the tools. It's really easy to just look out into the world and see what's wrong, and kind of just take a break from our inner work and just kind of like, oh my gosh, but all that chaos is from the inner chaos, right? So we need to look within and muster up the courage and stop looking at the outside, because that again is putting the material ahead of the spiritual, because we don't want to renounce the material, but we want to know its place in successful manifestation processes, which is after the energy of intention. The manifestation fulfills the intention, but when the intention is something diabolical or sinister, so we got to shift that. It's not before. The manifestation is not before it. In fact, manifestations cannot exist without intentions. So that's a part of the process of the revealing the light. So think about your tools. Think about, these manipulations. Think about all these mental ideas, because the first cause is always mental. And that's the question for this quest of this new moon. Which situation's leaving me feeling so helpless that I see manipulation as my only option? And that's, how we manipulate these chaotic situations so that we don't have to proceed. So think about that. You can write that down. Which situations leave me feeling so helpless that I see manipulation as the only option? And I will repeat it again, because now we're getting into the workshop part where you have to do some work. So